Coach Amber here. I made a post last week about my journey, and I had one of my clients reach out and ask me if I would share a little bit more in depth about my journey through fitness and life and weight loss, and what has ultimately led me to being a coach and trying to lead people on their own version of a similar journey. So I started playing soccer when I was really, really young at the age of 5, and I've played all the way up through my senior year of college. I graduated, and within that journey, there were a few things that happened. It all really started in high school when I was diagnosed with PCOS, and I had a lot of weight gain, probably about 40 pounds. I didn't really weigh myself in high school, to be completely honest. But through doctor's visits and such, we realized that I had gained quite a bit of weight. Now, being a varsity soccer player, gaining that much weight took away my fitness. And so one of the big takeaways I want you to take with you from this is that you need to be undeniably great at the basics. So I spent a lot of time in my yard juggling and learning about soccer and trying to be undeniably great at the basics to make up for the fitness that I lacked due to the heavy weight gain. Played soccer all through high school, played on the varsity team, was undeniably great at the basics, which earned me a starting position in high school all 4 years. I also played club soccer, so I participated on a soccer team in the spring, traveling all over New England to play there as well as a starting player. Fast forward a little bit to college. I used those basics to get me on a team, and where I didn't play as much, I still utilized that time to continue to practice being very good at the basics. Now, my body weight fluctuated. Again, I didn't really weigh myself up and down, probably yo-yoed between, 200 and 180 pounds. Probably weighing a bit less when I was a bit more fit inside of season. But I didn't have any sort of education in nutrition. And while I was studying exercise science in school, we didn't have a lot of education on any sort of strength training or whatnot. So I began to work out in the weight room one year. It was our sophomore year, I believe, with a strength and conditioning coach who was an intern in our athletic training room and wanted to work with some of the off-season teams on some strength protocols. And that really sparked or piqued my interest in strength training. And it really began there that I started to have a regular strength training regimen. Now, I say regular, but it wasn't as regular as I potentially am now. I would train usually in my off season. I never really trained in season, but that's a theory of mine that has changed. I believe every athlete should still partake in some strength training in their season. But from there, I continued to build bonds with teammates in the weight room. It started to become very regular. Fast forward, graduated college, weighed 208 pounds, which is the heaviest data point I have on MyFitnessPal. And I knew something had to change because I knew that I was going into work as a personal trainer, and I learned very quickly that in the field of fitness, strength and conditioning, personal training, your body is your business card. So being a 5'3" woman and carrying around 208 pounds wasn't a great look on myself and the product that I was going to provide to potential clients. So I began a regular training regimen. I would train 4 or 5 days a week with one of my buddies, Nick, that I worked with. And, in that short period of time as well, I participated in a challenge for 1 month. It was a protein challenge. And this was amongst 5 or 6 women who were all tracking protein intake, set a goal at the beginning of the month, tracked their protein intake throughout the month. Any day you didn't track, for accountability, you had to pay $1. And so that really held all of us accountable to keeping track. And, the dollar would go donated to a cause of your choice. So the money wasn't going to anyone in particular, and no one was winning anything, but it was for the sake of accountability. And it was then that I learned a new basic that I needed to be undoubtedly great at. I needed to show up and train 4 to 5 times a week. I needed to be great at protein consumption. And eventually I started to reap the benefits of those basics, and I started to lose weight. And then comes in, keeping track of carbohydrates. But this is not a short journey. This took me, 2016 to about 2018 when I weighed about 170 pounds. So 2 years to lose about 30 pounds and to keep that weight off. I was no longer yo-yoing between 180 and 200. And then I met my current wife, Rachel, and she was a bit more of a cardio queen. And so I took a stab at that. I started running, and we decided to sign up for a half marathon together. And through that, I stopped strength training. Now, my body weight didn't yo-yo back up, mostly because I was running a cumulative of somewhere between 18 and 20 miles a week. So I managed to maintain my body weight, but this is when I really started to understand carbohydrates, and I started to become undoubtedly great at tracking and keeping track of the carbohydrates and the fuel that I was putting into my body. And that helped me to be able to fuel my runs. But again, I wasn't losing weight, and I highly attributed that to the lack of strength training. And this is where I want to emphasize the importance of strength training for those of us who have been diagnosed with something like PCOS. It's a hormonal disorder that, forces or creates a discrepancy between the hormones in your body and potentially has us retain a little bit more weight than we should. In comes one of the biggest benefits of strength training is giving you the ability to regulate your insulin levels. When you train, your insulin levels spike in order to bring in glucose, and that benefits you because that insulin tends to come back down. So get undoubtedly great at showing up for strength training. And there will be people out there who will tell you that you need to have a certain amount of effort, or, you need to train a certain amount. Just get undoubtedly great at showing up and putting in the work and giving, a decent amount of effort in strength training. And that should help, among, dietary changes, help you manage some of the negative side effects of having PCOS. So fast forward a little bit more, in about 2019, 2020, I started training again for powerlifting, which has absolutely changed my life and has given me an external force that pushes me to show up in the gym every single day, train heavy, fuel my body well, and eventually I took control of my nutrition and started tracking all of my calories, all of my macronutrients in with the goal to lose weight. And if you go to my open powerlifting profile, you'll see that my first meet, I believe I competed, I think it was above 165. But every meet after that, I subsequently dropped, and my numbers were still going up. Now, losing weight was great because it helped me to, again, manage my PCOS. But I got to a point where I was trying to force weight loss too much. I got down to the 132 class, so across 4 years, I lost 45 plus pounds. But that meet, you'll see my numbers went down. My strength numbers, my squat, my bench, my deadlift numbers, for those of you who don't know what powerlifting is. And I've since been on a journey to slowly gain more muscle mass so that I can improve my powerlifting numbers. Again, powerlifting has changed my life. It's a great external motivator to help you choose what things you need to hold yourself accountable for that are going to help you achieve those goals. So I'm back up to about 148, the next weight class above 132, which is, a really happy set point for me, actually. And it's not something I'm looking to push too much. But, through the ups and the downs, I guess the major takeaways I want you all to walk away with, and I said it before, and I'll say it again, is to be undoubtedly great at the basics. Being undoubtedly great at the basics is what has kept me in the sport of powerlifting. It was what kept me in the sport of soccer and continuing to play. It would have been very easy for me to say, you know what, my fitness isn't there. I gained a lot of weight. I'm not going to play. Maybe I should step back. But having the skills that I did were what earned me the position and not my fitness. And I knew that my fitness would catch up throughout the season, which is not a great way to look at being an athlete. But it is what it is. The other thing I want you to take away from this is that you need to lean into your strengths. Lean into what you're good at. I stopped playing soccer after college because, well, I was good at the basics, but the basics weren't going to take me very far. So I decided to compete in powerlifting, where I don't mean this as a slap in the face to any powerlifters, but it's a very basic sport. It's basic to train for. It's basic to be good at. It's just a squat, a bench, and a deadlift. And if you can listen to direction and you can continue to do the same boring, monotonous thing day after day, you're going to be good at the sport. So lean into your strengths. Be undoubtedly great at the basics. The other thing that I implemented throughout my weight loss journey was walking. I think everyone underestimates the power of walking and getting in a good walk every single day. It's great for your body. It's great for your mind. It's great for your heart. We don't need to be out here running half marathons to get the cardiovascular benefits. A simple 30 to 45 minute walk every single day. I'll have to find the research on this, but I'm pretty sure it's backed by research, is plenty enough for you to be able to get the cardiovascular benefits. Now, is it going to make you a fantastic athlete? Maybe not. But it is going to help supplement you in your journey, whatever that may be it strength, be it weight loss. It may not help with weight gain, but we all know that, calories in being more than calories out is going to put you in a caloric surplus and potentially help you gain weight, and calories in being less than calories out is going to put you in a caloric deficit and potentially lead you to weight loss. But in a nutshell, I have gone on a 50-pound weight loss journey, and I have also subsequently gained back 15 pounds. I would like to think of muscle, although those aren't metrics that I've tracked superbly close. I've started to use InBodies to track the body fat versus skeletal muscle mass a bit more closely because I think it's very important, especially in the, where I'm at in my journey. It's a little bit beyond the basics. But right now, I would argue where I'm at, I need to go a little bit deeper than the basics in order to continue to be great. So, yeah, I've learned a lot from this journey, and I hope that you all can take something away from it. If you want to go check out my post that I made about the journey, and it was primarily about what people see. Posted a picture from 2016 and a picture from this year, and I said, you can see the difference in my body weight, but the things that you don't see are the struggles, are the work ethic, are the small decisions day in and day out to choose what's best for me and control what I can control. And that is the hardest part. Everyone loves the glory of weight loss, but nobody wants to talk about all of the hard work and the intention that it takes to do so. So go be undoubtedly great at the basics, lean into your strengths, and control what you can control. And I have no doubt in my mind that you'll be able to write a similar journey for your own goals. If you want to go follow me, my handle for Instagram is @ambitious_strength_. Take a look at my posts. Let me know what you think. And thank you for listening.